The twin suns of Virella sank low behind the red mountains, painting the alien sky with gold and violet light. The air shimmered with dust and static from the planet's strange energy storms. A lone figure moved across the rocky plain, a human explorer named Ethan Cole. His boots crunched on the dry ground, each step echoing in the silence of an ancient world. Ethan had come here searching for lost technology. He had heard rumors in the outer colonies, whispers about a weapon buried in the grave of a queen. A weapon so powerful that it could bend energy itself. But the locals had warned him to stay away. They spoke of a curse, of spirits guarding the graves of the old world. They called it the Valley of Echoes, the resting place of their ancestors. But Ethan wasn't a man who believed in curses. He believed in facts, in machines, and in science. His scanner beeped in his hand, showing faint energy readings under the surface. "There you are," he muttered to himself. He adjusted his visor and stepped between the giant alien statues that watched him like silent gods. The graveyard spread before him, rows of smooth, stone-like cocoons glowing faintly blue in the dusk. Each grave had markings carved in alien script. He couldn't read them, but he felt something heavy in the air, like the weight of time itself pressing down on him. Still, he moved forward, following the scanner's signal. At the center of the valley stood a single grave larger than the rest, a towering monolith surrounded by vines that glowed softly in the dark. On top of the stone lay a long spear, black as night, covered in silver veins of light that pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Ethan's breath caught. The readings spiked off the chart. "That must be it," he whispered. His fingers trembled with excitement. He looked around. No guards, no drones, no movement. Only the whisper of the wind. He climbed the stone steps and knelt beside the grave. The spear hummed quietly, as if alive. He reached out, hesitating for a moment. His mind told him this was wrong. Sacred ground, ancient laws, unknown energy. But curiosity burned brighter. "Just one touch," he said. The moment his hand closed around the spear, the world changed. A surge of blue light exploded from the grave. The ground trembled beneath his feet. The air roared like a storm. The vines twisted and glowed brighter, wrapping around his arm. Ethan fell back, gasping. The spear refused to let go. It burned cold and hot at once, humming deep into his bones. Suddenly, voices filled the air, 1,000 whispers overlapping in a language he didn't know. The statues seemed to turn their heads. The soil cracked open, revealing symbols of fire that ran in circles around him. And then, silence. The spear came free in his hand. The air grew still. Ethan stared at the weapon. It felt weightless, yet heavy with power. He could hear something faint inside his head, like a heartbeat that wasn't his. The scanner was dead, his lights flickered, and his pulse raced. He didn't understand what he had done, only that something ancient had awakened. Then he heard a voice behind him. "You fool," it said, low and sharp. "Do you even know what you've done?" Ethan turned. Out of the mist stepped a tall alien woman dressed in silver armor, her dark blue skin shining under the dying light. Her eyes burned with a golden glow, and her long white hair flowed like silk. She was not like the others he'd seen before. She carried both beauty and danger in her presence. Behind her stood a group of alien soldiers with weapons raised. The woman's gaze locked on the spear in Ethan's hands, and her expression changed from anger to horror. "You pulled it," she whispered. "You pulled the sacred spear from my mother's grave." Ethan blinked, his voice barely a whisper. I didn't know. You desecrated the resting place of the High Matriarch," she shouted, stepping closer. The ground shook again, responding to her voice. "You have broken the oldest law of our people." The soldiers surrounded him, but she raised a hand to stop them. Her voice trembled with rage and disbelief. "You cannot be executed," she said slowly. "The law forbids it," Ethan frowned. "What law?" "The one written in the blood of our ancestors," she said, her golden eyes narrowing. "Any being who draws the sacred spear becomes bound to the matriarch's bloodline." She stepped closer until he could feel the heat of her breath. "And I," she whispered, "am her daughter." Ethan's heart pounded. He still held the spear, its glow matching the rhythm of his pulse. He didn't understand the words she was saying. Bound? How? Why? The soldiers lowered their weapons. The woman stared at him with a mix of fury and disbelief. "By our ancient right," she said, voice trembling, "you are no longer a trespasser." Her golden eyes softened just slightly, almost in pain. "You are my husband now." The spear pulsed in Ethan's hand, sealing his fate as thunder rolled across the alien sky. And for the first time, Ethan realized he hadn't just stolen a relic. He had stolen a life. For a long moment, Ethan could not move. The wind howled through the ruins, carrying the smell of dust and ozone. The sacred spear still glowed in his hand, humming like a living heart. Across from him, the alien woman stood in silence, her golden eyes locked on his face, burning with fury, grief, and something he could not name. Around them, the soldiers watched in confusion. They didn't know whether to kill the human or bow to him. The woman's voice finally broke the silence. "Put the spear down," she ordered. Her tone was calm, but every word cut like ice. "You are not worthy to hold it." Ethan hesitated. His mind spun, and what just happened? He had come for technology, not trouble, and certainly not a wife. "I didn't mean to," he said quickly. "I thought it was—" "You thought wrong," she interrupted. Her eyes flashed, and the ground trembled faintly under her boots. "You touched what no living being was allowed to touch. You stole from my mother's grave, and now by the oldest law of my people you are bound to me." Ethan swallowed. "Bound? How?" She stepped closer, her armor catching the light of the setting suns. "The spear of union chooses its bearer," she said. "It links blood to blood, life to life. My mother forged it with the first human who ever came to our world. Your kind helped create it, and now it is chosen again." Ethan stared at the weapon in his hands. The silver veins pulsed faintly. "You mean this thing just married us?" The alien woman's jaw tightened. "Do not mock our ways, human. My mother died defending this world. Her spirit still guards the spear. When you drew it, she bound us, whether I wanted it or not." Her soldiers shifted nervously. One of them whispered, "Lady Serai, we cannot allow this. The council will never accept a human consort." Serai, that was her name, and turned sharply. "The law is the law," she said coldly. "Even the council cannot defy the sacred bond." Ethan noticed the tremor in her hand. Anger, fear? Maybe both. The soldiers led him through the valley toward the alien city that glowed in the distance. Towers shaped like crystals, bridges of light, floating gardens high above the ground. Everywhere they passed, aliens stopped to stare. Whispers followed him like smoke. Human thief. Grave desecrator. Cursed husband. Serai walked ahead, refusing to look back. Ethan kept silent, clutching the spear like a lifeline. Its pulse seemed to echo his heartbeat. Every time he tried to let it go, the weapon hummed louder, as if warning him not to. When they reached the temple gates, Serai turned suddenly. "Give it to me." He held it out carefully. Gladly. But the moment she touched it, the spear flared with light, rejecting her grasp. The hum grew sharp, almost angry. Serai hissed in frustration and stepped back. The glow faded only when Ethan held it again. "Why won't it let me touch it?" she demanded. Ethan shook his head. "Maybe because it likes me more?" Her eyes narrowed dangerously. "You think this is funny?" he sighed. "No, I think this is insane. Look, I don't even want this thing. I'll give it back. I'll leave this planet, whatever you want. Just undo it." "You cannot undo what is written in blood," she said. Her voice cracked slightly, though she tried to hide it. "When the spear binds two souls, death itself is the only release." The words hit Ethan like a punch. "You're saying we're stuck?" Serai didn't answer. She turned away, motioning for the guards. "Take him to the Hall of Vows. The elders will decide his fate." The hall was vast, walls covered in living light, the air heavy with incense. At the far end, 3 alien elders sat upon crystal thrones. Their eyes glowed pale blue, ancient and cold. Serai knelt before them. "Honored elders, this human has violated the grave of my mother, High Matriarch Elara. Yet the spear chose him. I request judgment." The eldest among them raised his hand. "The bond is sacred. The spear never lies, but he is human." Serai protested. "He is not one of us." "That is exactly why the spear chose him," the elder said softly. "The prophecy speaks of a union reborn, a bridge between our kind and theirs." Serai's face hardened. "Then the prophecy is wrong." Ethan stepped forward, his voice steady. "Look, I didn't come here to fulfill any prophecy. I came looking for lost tech, but I didn't mean any harm. If there's a way to set things right, tell me." The elder studied him for a long time. "The only way to sever the bond," he said slowly, "is for the wife to reject the vow publicly. to cast the spear into the sea of shadows. But if she does, her soul will burn with the curse of the ancestors. Ethan looked at Serai. That sounds painful. Her eyes glistened faintly. It would kill me. He froze. So either you die or we stay married. She didn't answer. Instead, she turned away. Take him to the guest chambers. Lock the doors. As the guards led him out, Ethan glanced back. Serai stood alone before the glowing thrones, her shoulders shaking slightly though she tried to stand tall. Outside, thunder rolled again, and the city lights flickered as if the planet itself disapproved. Ethan sat down on the cold alien floor, still gripping the spear. Somewhere deep within it, the hum of the weapon softened, like a heartbeat whispering a warning. He stared into the blue glow and murmured, "What have I done?" And far above, in the tower of the temple, Serai looked toward the storm and whispered, "Mother, why him?" The next morning, the alien city was silent. The twin suns had barely risen, yet the great temple of Virella was already alive with movement. Bells of light shimmered through the air, echoing across the marble streets. Word had spread through the capital. The sacred bond would be sealed today. A human of all beings was to be joined to the daughter of the matriarch. Ethan stood inside a circular chamber made of glass and crystal. Blue light streamed down from above, painting his face in shifting colors. He hadn't slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Serai's furious face, and the spear pulsing like a living thing beside him. He didn't want this. He didn't understand this, but no one here cared what he wanted. 2 alien guards entered. Their armor glowed with faint runes. "The time has come," one said flatly. Ethan sighed. "Yeah, great. Let's go get married to someone who hates me." They didn't respond. The grand temple was packed. Rows of alien citizens filled the seats, their glowing eyes fixed on him. They whispered, hissed, and murmured among themselves. A human, touching the sacred spear, a cursed bond. The prophecy. It begins again. At the center of the temple stood Serai, tall, proud, and heartbreakingly beautiful under the golden lights. Her silver armor had been replaced with ceremonial robes that shimmered like water. Her face, however, was cold as ice. She did not look at Ethan as he approached. Between them, the sacred spear floated in midair, humming softly. A stream of blue energy connected its tip to the floor, a symbol of the ancient vow. Ethan stopped a few feet away from her. The alien elders stood behind the spear, watching in silence. One of them raised his hand. "By the law of the ancestors," he said, "the one who drew the spear must now complete the bond. If either denies it, the balance between worlds will fall." Ethan spoke carefully. "Look, I don't want to disrespect your laws, but I don't even know what this bond means. I didn't come here for this." Serai finally looked at him, her golden eyes sharp but tired. "Do you think I did?" she said quietly. "You took everything from me, human. My mother's rest, my peace, my honor. The least you can do is finish what you started." Her words hit him harder than any weapon could. For a moment he wanted to argue, to tell her he was sorry, that he never meant to hurt her. But he saw the pain in her eyes. And he said nothing. The elder gestured. "Join hands. Let the spear witness your vow." Serai hesitated, then stepped forward. Ethan did the same. Their hands met above the glowing weapon. The moment their skin touched, the spear flared to life, a storm of light filling the temple. Blue fire wrapped around their fingers. A low hum rose to a thunderous roar. Ethan gasped as energy surged through him. Memories, faces, voices that weren't his own. He saw flashes of Serai's past, her childhood under alien skies, her mother's laughter, the burning war that took everything from her. Serai's eyes widened too. She saw him, a small boy on a dying Earth colony, his parents lost to famine, his dream of exploring the stars. For one brief heartbeat, they shared everything. 2 strangers connected by something older than time. Then, just as suddenly, the light vanished. They stood gasping, hands still touching. The spear floated quietly between them again, its glow now steady, calm, as if satisfied. The elder spoke. "It is done. The bond is complete. The matriarch's bloodline continues." The crowd erupted in sound, some cheering, others shouting in outrage. Serai pulled her hand away quickly, turning from Ethan. She trembled, though she hid it well. Ethan looked down. A faint glowing mark had appeared on his wrist, shaped like the same runes carved on her arm. Their link was real. The guards approached, bowing slightly. Lady Serai, your consort is now under your protection. His life and death are yours to command. Serai's voice was ice. Then keep him out of my sight. That night, the temple grew quiet again. Ethan sat alone in a small chamber with a narrow window overlooking the alien city. The lights below flickered like fireflies. He touched the glowing mark on his wrist, feeling a faint pulse, the same rhythm as the spear. He whispered to himself, "So this is marriage, huh? Could have used a honeymoon instead of a death sentence." The door opened. Serai stepped in, still in her ceremonial robes. Her expression was unreadable. "You are not safe here," she said simply. Ethan blinked. "You mean because everyone here wants me dead?" Her eyes softened just slightly. "Because the spear has awakened something old. The extremists will come for it, and for you," he frowned. "Why not just take the spear back?" "I don't even want it." She looked at him with quiet frustration. "It no longer belongs to me. It has chosen us. And if you die, the balance of the bond dies too. I would be cursed." He gave a short laugh. "So we're both stuck in this mess." "For now," she said, her voice low. "But listen to me, human. The spear is calling something. I can feel it in my bones. Whatever it wakes will not stop until it finds us." Ethan's expression turned serious. "Then we fight together." Serai's golden eyes flickered with surprise, then hardened again. "Do not think this makes us allies. You are still the thief who touched my mother's grave." She turned to leave, but just before walking out she paused. Without facing him, she whispered, "My mother's spear never chooses wrong." The door closed softly behind her. Ethan looked out the window again. Far in the dark horizon, thunder rolled, not from weather but from engines. Dozens of red lights appeared in the sky, moving fast toward the city. He gripped the spear tight. "Looks like the honeymoon's over," he murmured. The hum of the weapon deepened, as if it agreed. The night fell heavy over the alien city. Blue lightning flickered on the horizon, painting the glass towers in brief flashes of light. Ethan stood by the window of his chamber, watching storm clouds gather beyond the mountains. The spear rested against the wall, glowing faintly, almost like it was breathing. Every few seconds, a pulse ran through it, like the heartbeat of something alive. He couldn't sleep. The strange mark on his wrist still burned softly. Whenever he touched it, the spear answered with a quiet hum. It felt like a link, a bond he couldn't understand but could no longer ignore. Down in the courtyard below, alien soldiers patrolled with silver torches. Their shadows stretched long across the marble floor. Serai had ordered a double guard for the night, though she hadn't explained why. Ethan could still hear her voice in his head. "They're coming." He wasn't sure who they were, but the air felt different tonight. Thicker, watching. Suddenly the spear's glow brightened. Ethan turned sharply. "What now?" he whispered. The hum grew deeper. The light shifted from blue to red. Outside, one of the guards shouted. Then another. A blast of sound, like thunder and metal, ripped through the courtyard. Alarms began to wail across the city, the sky filled with streaks of fire, attack pods descending fast from orbit. Ethan grabbed the spear instinctively. The moment his hand touched it, energy flowed through his arm. The runes along its surface blazed with life. The door burst open. Serai rushed in, armored and armed, her golden eyes fierce. "They've breached the outer wall," she shouted. "Extremists from the Red Caste, they're after the spear." Ethan followed her into the corridor. The temple shook with explosions. Crystals fell from the ceiling, shattering on the ground like frozen stars. Alien warriors ran past, shouting orders in their language. The smell of burning metal filled the air. "Stay close," Serai commanded, wasn't planning to wander off. Ethan yelled back, ducking as a beam of red plasma tore through the wall beside him. They sprinted through the hall, the sound of battle growing louder. Serai moved like lightning, cutting down two raiders who burst from a side passage. Ethan swung the spear wildly, and to his surprise it responded like it knew how to fight. A wave of blue energy shot from its tip, knocking 3 attackers off their feet. He stared at it. Okay, that was new. Serai didn't even glance back. It recognizes danger. "Do not stop!" They reached the outer courtyard, a battlefield of light and smoke. The sky glowed red with falling ships. Raiders in dark armor swarmed the temple steps, firing plasma bolts. The sacred banners burned. Alien civilians ran screaming into the tunnels. Serai raised her weapon. "Protect the spear-bearer," she cried in her native tongue. Her soldiers formed a line around them. But the raiders were too many. Ethan's instincts took over. He ran forward, raising the spear. The weapon roared to life, creating a shield of blue light that deflected the enemy blasts. Serai spun beside him, her blade slicing through armor. The two of them fought side by side, a strange, perfect rhythm neither could explain. A raider lunged for Serai from behind. Ethan shoved her out of the way, taking the blow himself. The plasma scorched his shoulder. He cried out but stayed standing. The spear flared in fury. A shockwave of blue light erupted, hurling the raiders backward. When the light faded, the courtyard was silent. Dozens of enemies lay scattered, their weapons smoking. The few survivors limped back toward their ships. Serai turned to him, her eyes wide. "You're hurt," he winced, pressing his shoulder. "Just a scratch. You should see the other guys." She stared at him for a long second, then whispered, almost to herself, "You shielded me." "Why?" He shrugged weakly. "Because you're my wife, remember?" A faint grin tugged at his lips despite the pain. She glared at him, but the corner of her mouth almost softened. "You are reckless," she said, voice low. "And foolish, yeah," Ethan said, breathing hard. "But we're alive." The elder guards arrived, sealing the gates behind them. The last explosions faded into the distance. For a moment, only the hiss of rain filled the air. Then one of the captured raiders, lying wounded on the ground, began to laugh, a harsh, broken sound. Serai walked over and pointed her blade at his throat. "Who sent you?" The alien's eyes glowed red. "You think this ends tonight, daughter of the matriarch? The prophecy has begun. The spear's power will wake the one who sleeps below." Ethan frowned. "What does that mean?" The raider smiled weakly. "You will see, human. When the stars turn red, your bond will burn the sky." Before they could stop him, the raider bit down on something and dissolved into a burst of black smoke. The wind carried the ash away. Serai lowered her sword slowly. Her face was pale now, her fury replaced by something colder, fear. "The prophecy of the Red Dawn," she murmured. "It's real." Ethan leaned on the spear for balance. "Care to explain that in English?" She turned toward him, her golden eyes glowing faintly through the storm. "It means," she said quietly, "that the war our mothers tried to stop is coming back." Lightning flashed behind her, lighting up the ruins of the temple. The sacred murals of peace lay shattered on the floor. The spear pulsed again, louder, deeper, almost like a heartbeat of the planet itself. Ethan looked at Serai. "Then I guess we'd better be ready." She met his gaze, and for the first time there was no hatred, only understanding. The storm broke open above them, rain falling hard as fire lit the distant hills, and far beneath the temple, deep within the buried catacombs, something ancient began to stir, answering the call of the spear. The storm raged over the city through the night. Lightning crawled across the alien sky and thunder rolled over the broken towers. Inside the ruined temple, the sacred spear glowed faintly, standing upright in the cracked floor like a beacon that refused to die. Ethan sat near it, his shoulder bandaged roughly with alien cloth. He had refused rest until Serai finally forced him to sit. She moved quietly across the temple ruins, her armor scorched, her hair damp with rain. The once proud warrior now looked tired, but her eyes burned with thought. Neither spoke for a long time. Only the hum of the spear filled the silence. Finally, Ethan broke it. "That raider, before he died, he said something about the one who sleeps below. What did he mean?" Serai stopped walking. The question hung heavy in the air. "The prophecy of the Red Dawn," she said quietly. "It was forbidden even to speak of it." She turned toward him, her golden eyes glowing in the half-dark. "It says that when the sacred spear is drawn again, the world will awaken the sleeper beneath. A creature born of both human and alien blood. It will either unite our worlds, or destroy them both." Ethan frowned. "A creature born of both? That sounds impossible." Serai shook her head. "Not impossible, forgotten." She walked to the spear and touched the air near its shaft, careful not to make contact. "My mother believed this weapon held the memories of those who created it. She said humans and our kind once fought side by side long before our wars began." Ethan leaned forward. "You mean humans were here before?" "Yes," she said. "Your ancestors came through the rift centuries ago. They helped forge peace. The spear was their promise, made between my mother's people and yours. But when the peace failed, both sides buried the truth. My mother hid the spear here with her own body so that no one could twist its power again. Ethan stared at the glowing weapon. So when I pulled it out, I didn't just steal from your mother. I woke her memory. Serai's expression softened, the anger fading from her face. Yes, she said. And now her memory lives inside you. He looked confused. Inside me? She nodded. When you drew the spear, it chose you. It marked you. The bond we share, it's not just law. It's energy, soul, and blood. You carry part of her spirit now. That's why the weapon responds to you and not me. Ethan rubbed the mark on his wrist. No wonder it feels like it's breathing. She gave a faint smile, the first he'd ever seen from her. It recognizes you. Perhaps it remembers your ancestors. For the first time, they weren't enemies. The distance between them felt smaller. Serai sat across from him, pulling a small crystal tablet from her belt. She pressed it and a projection flickered to life. Images of her mother, the High Matriarch, standing beside a human man in an ancient uniform. They held the same spear between them. That's him, she said softly. The first human, Commander Iden Vale. He came here during the Great War. My mother loved him. Ethan's eyes widened. Loved him? Serai nodded. They were never meant to be together, but they tried to unite our worlds. When he died, she swore she'd finish his dream. The spear was their bond, forged by two hearts from different stars. Ethan stared at the hologram, the truth sinking in. So this whole law, this bond between us, it all started because of them. Serai met his gaze. Yes, you see now why I couldn't kill you. You're part of that legacy, even if you don't understand it yet. He looked down at his hands. I didn't come here to be anyone's hero. I was just looking for tech to sell. Serai's voice softened. Perhaps destiny found you anyway. A quiet moment passed between them. The rain outside slowed to a gentle patter. The hum of the spear grew steady like it was listening. Then the ground trembled. Dust fell from the temple ceiling. The glow of the spear shifted again, deeper, redder. Ethan jumped up. What now? Serai turned, eyes narrowing. Something's waking beneath us. The floor cracked open near the altar. Light spilled through the fissures, not blue but crimson. Serai drew her weapon. No, she whispered. It's too soon. The spear pulsed violently in Ethan's hand. A shock wave of energy burst from it, pushing them both backward. Through the rift in the floor, they saw a vast chamber beneath the temple, full of glowing machinery, ancient pods, and strange organic structures. Inside one of the pods floated a figure, half human, half alien, sleeping, its chest slowly rising and falling. Ethan stared in disbelief. That's the sleeper? Serai nodded slowly, her voice barely a whisper. The child of the matriarch and the human commander. My mother's secret. The one she hid from the world? The sleeper's eyes flickered open, glowing gold and blue. The temple shook harder. Serai turned to Ethan, shouting over the rumble. You've triggered the awakening. The spear called her back. Ethan's pulse raced. What happens now? Serai looked toward the glowing figure, her voice trembling with awe and fear. Now the prophecy begins. The light from the spear rose like a storm, merging with the glow from below. The air shimmered with raw power. Ethan stepped beside Serai, gripping the weapon tightly. Then we face it together. She turned her head, meeting his eyes. For the first time, there was no hate, no anger, only quiet trust. Her voice was soft but steady. Yes, my husband, together. And as the sleeper opened her eyes fully, the ancient world of Varela trembled, as destiny, buried for centuries, awoke at last. The light from the cracked temple faded slowly, replaced by the pale glow of dawn. Smoke curled through the ruins like ghosts refusing to leave. Ethan and Serai stood on the shattered floor, staring into the dark fissure where the sleeper's chamber had been revealed. The ground still trembled occasionally as if the world beneath them was alive. Serai touched the edge of the fissure, her voice low. My mother hid her child here all these years. She must have known this day would come. Ethan stared into the red glow below. So the prophecy's real. The sleeper's awake. But what happens now? Serai's eyes flickered with doubt. Now the council will act, and they will not see the sleeper as hope. They will see her as a threat. The council didn't wait long. By midday, Ethan and Serai were summoned to the Grand Hall of Light, the heart of the alien government. The hall was enormous, crystal towers rising into a dome that seemed to touch the clouds. Rows of robed elders watched them in silence as they entered. Ethan could feel their cold eyes. He didn't belong here. He was a stranger carrying a weapon that terrified them. The High Elder spoke first, his voice echoing like thunder. "You have awakened the child of the matriarch. Do you realize what you have done?" Ethan straightened his back. "It wasn't on purpose. But if she's alive, shouldn't that be a good thing?" A murmur ran through the hall. One elder hissed, "Good? That creature will bring war." The prophecy said her awakening would split the stars in two. Serai stepped forward. "You twist the prophecy to serve your fear. My mother believed the sleeper would unite us. The spear's light was never meant to destroy. It was meant to heal." The High Elder slammed his staff to the ground. "You forget your place, Serai. You are bound to the human who desecrated your mother's grave. You are both abominations in the eyes of the ancestors." Ethan clenched his fists. "Enough. You can call me a thief, a mistake, whatever you want. But I saw what your people did tonight. Those raiders didn't come from nowhere. Someone sent them." The room fell silent. Serai's gaze turned sharp. "You think the council?" The High Elder's face hardened. "You dare accuse us?" Ethan met his eyes. "You had guards all over this city. You knew about the prophecy. Maybe you wanted the spear destroyed before it could prove you wrong." A younger elder rose from her seat. "Remove them both," she ordered coldly. Before their curse spreads further, soldiers moved forward. Serai stepped protectively in front of Ethan, drawing her blade. "Touch him, and I swear by the matriarch's blood I'll bring this hall down myself." The elders froze. The High Elder's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then you are lost, daughter of Alara?" Serai's eyes burned with fury. "No," she said. "I'm finally found." She grabbed Ethan's arm and pulled him toward the exit. Blasts of energy followed them, burning the marble floor. They ran through the palace halls, chased by guards in glowing armor. Alarms wailed across the city. Ethan shouted over the noise, "Where are we going?" "To the catacombs," she yelled back. "My mother's secret tunnels beneath the temple ruins. It's the only way out." They burst into the open streets, weaving through panicked citizens and falling debris. The air smelled of smoke and lightning. The spear glowed brighter with each step, guiding their way like a living compass. When they reached the temple ruins, Serai pressed a sequence of runes on the wall. A hidden passage slid open, revealing a staircase spiraling down into darkness. They descended quickly, the sound of pursuit fading above. The tunnels were narrow and wet, lined with carvings of ancient battles. Faint lights flickered in the walls, echoes of long-forgotten technology. Serai moved ahead, torchlight casting shadows across her face. "These tunnels were built during the First War," she said. "My mother used them to smuggle refugees when peace failed." Ethan followed close behind. "You think the sleeper's still beneath the temple?" "She's awake now," Serai said. "But she won't rise until the spear calls her. We have to protect it, and each other." A low rumble shook the ground. Dust rained from the ceiling. The tunnels behind them collapsed in a cloud of smoke. "They're sealing the exits," Ethan said. Serai turned, urgency in her voice. "Then we keep moving." They reached a small chamber filled with glowing crystals. Serai stopped suddenly and faced him. "Ethan, if we are captured, they will kill you first. I can't let that happen," he frowned. "You're not giving up on me now." "I won't," she said quietly. "But if I must, I will trade my life for yours. The bond demands balance. My death could break it, set you free." Ethan shook his head. "Don't talk like that," she stepped closer. "You don't understand. My people will hunt us forever. You're not their enemy. You're their proof that they were wrong, that humans and my kind were never meant to be apart." Her golden eyes softened. "Maybe that's what my mother wanted to show us." Ethan looked at her for a long moment, then placed his hand gently over hers. "Then we finish what she started, together." The spear between them glowed brighter, filling the chamber with pure white light. The hum became a melody, soft, powerful, ancient. Serai stared at it, whispering, "She's guiding us." But before Ethan could answer, voices echoed down the tunnel, guards closing in. Serai looked toward the sound, then at him. "Go, take the spear. I'll hold them off." "No." Ethan grabbed her arm. "We go together." Her eyes filled with something rare, tenderness. "You're stubborn, human." "Yeah," he said with a faint smile. "You married me. Get used to it. She smiled for real this time, brief, bright, and heartbreaking. Then let's make them remember our names. They turned toward the next tunnel, side by side, the spear blazing like a second sun. Behind them, the council's army poured into the dark. Ahead, the path opened toward the unknown, toward destiny, sacrifice, and the promise of unity that refused to die. The tunnels beneath the temple stretched for miles, twisting like veins through the heart of the ancient world. The air grew colder the deeper Ethan and Serai went, carrying the smell of dust, stone, and memory. The glow of the spear lit their path, steady, white, and pure, like a single star in the endless dark. Behind them, the sound of pursuit faded. The council's soldiers had stopped chasing, but that silence wasn't safety, it was something else. A warning. They entered a vast underground chamber. Pillars of crystal rose from the floor, reaching up into the unseen ceiling. Streams of blue light flowed between them, humming softly as if alive. In the center of the cavern stood a pool of still water, glowing faintly from below. Floating above it and asleep no longer, was the sleeper. She was radiant. Her skin shimmered silver blue, her hair pure white, her body suspended in light. Her eyes, half open, glowed like twin suns, one golden like Serai's, the other pale blue like Ethan's world. Her voice echoed faintly through the chamber, though her lips did not move. Two souls drawn by fate, one born of blood, one of choice. Ethan's grip on the spear tightened. The weapon pulsed like a heartbeat matching hers. "Serai," he whispered. "She's speaking inside my head." Serai nodded slowly. "She's speaking to both of us." The sleeper's gaze fell upon them, calm and knowing. "The bond has awakened me," she said. "You have fulfilled the law of unity. But now the world above burns with division. The council will not rest until both of you are gone." Ethan looked around. The crystals in the walls flickered, showing visions of the city above. Soldiers marched. Warships gathered. The skies turned red. The prophecy was unfolding. Serai's face hardened. "We can't let them destroy everything." The spear was meant for peace. The sleeper raised her hand and the water around her rippled. Peace requires sacrifice. One must return the spear to the heart of the world, to seal the bond forever. Ethan frowned. "Seal it? What happens if we do?" "The spear's energy will unite the two worlds again," the sleeper said, "but it will take the life of the one who carries it." Serai stepped forward instantly. "Then I'll do it," Ethan turned to her. "No, you're not dying for me." She met his eyes, her voice firm but soft. "It's not for you. It's for both of us, for everyone. My mother gave her life to protect peace. Now it's my turn." Ethan shook his head. "You think I can just stand here and watch that?" "Not a chance." He took a step toward the pool, but Serai blocked him. "Ethan, please." "No," he said. "If someone's going to end this, it's me. I started it. I pulled the spear. I broke your laws, your peace, your mother's rest. Let me make it right." The spear glowed brighter between them, as if responding to their argument, two hearts beating against fate. The sleeper watched silently, her expression unreadable. Serai's voice trembled now. "You don't belong to this world, Ethan. If you die, there will be nothing left of you." He smiled faintly. "Maybe not. But if this world lives because of it, then I'll still be here in every sunrise, you see." She reached up, touching his cheek. Her hand was warm, shaking slightly. "You foolish, stubborn human." He grinned softly. "You married me. Get used to it." A tear slipped from her golden eye. "Then we do it together." The spear flared, blindingly bright. Energy flowed between their hands, binding them one last time. The sleeper raised both arms, her voice echoing like thunder and prayer combined. "Two hearts shall stand as one. Two worlds shall breathe as one. And from their unity, peace shall rise again." Ethan and Serai stepped into the pool. The water glowed brighter, turning into pure light that wrapped around them like wings. Their bodies began to lift, merging with the radiance of the spear. The mark on their wrists burned, then vanished. Ethan's voice was soft, almost lost in the rising hum. "Serai, I'm not afraid anymore." She smiled through tears. "I know, because you're not alone." They pressed their foreheads together. The light erupted upward, filling the entire chamber. The spear dissolved into shards of energy that spiraled into the sleeper's heart. The ground shook. A column of white light pierced the surface above, spreading through the sky like dawn breaking after endless night. Above ground, the warships halted. The alien soldiers looked up as the red skies turned golden. The city's towers glowed again, alive with ancient power. The people fell to their knees, bathed in the warmth of the light. The council's thrones cracked and shattered. The elders vanished like dust in the wind. The prophecy had been fulfilled, not through war but through love. When the light faded, the sleeper stood alone beside the quiet pool. Her expression was calm, almost human. In her hands lay 2 glowing fragments, one gold, one blue. She pressed them gently to her chest. "Their bond is eternal," she whispered. "The worlds are one again." Years later, on the plains of Virella, children played near a monument of stone and silver. 2 figures were carved there, a human holding a spear and an alien woman standing beside him, their hands joined. The plaque beneath read, "Ethan Cole and Serai of Lara, bound by fate, united by choice." And sometimes when the wind was quiet and the stars burned bright, the spear's hum could still be heard, faint and gentle, like 2 heartbeats echoing together across time.